Hello everyone and welcome to another video by Centipede Geek. Today I'm going to talk about the sci-fi original television series by the name of Defiance. I'm going to discuss my thoughts and opinions upon episode 3 titled Down in the Ground Where the Dead Men Go. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to it, shall we? So pretty much what we have in this episode 3 of Defiance, we have Nolan and his daughter, sorry I forget his daughter's name, Arissa I think actually. Nolan and his daughter Arissa are going to look for the suspect Ben. You know, we all remember Ben from the first episode, the pilot episode. Ben was the one who killed Macaulay's son. So they're looking for Ben because Ben just recently got out of his coma. He escaped with the help of one of the ex-mayor's friends that works for him, and Ben has now escaped, ran off into the mines, and what he wants to do in the mines is he has a nuclear bomb with him, and he wants to blow up the mines. That's pretty much what this episode is about. Nolan and Arissa are trying to apprehend Ben, get him in custody, that way they can question him and see what his reasoning was for killing Macaulay's son. That's pretty much the main gist of the episode. We also have many other things going on, such as we all know that Macaulay's daughter, I forget her name, but Macaulay's daughter and then Daytek's son, you know, they're having a little romance is brewing between them, and you know both of the parents know now, and of course the human girl's father does not like this, and he confronts her about this, and he pretty much tells her in this episode, he pretty much tells her that, you know, if she does go through this marriage, that he's never going to let her in her household again. And of course, she walks out of the house. So we have very, you know, inner arguments going on between them. So the turmoil going on in that family is not very good at all between them. And of course, Daytek is still trying to get a hold of the mind in this episode. So we have that going on. Another crucial thing in this episode is that the Castoran alien race has a suspect in custody, and the reason they are doing a sort of, I guess you could say, a cleansing ritual. And the reason they are doing this cleansing ritual is because of the when the battle between the Volds was going on in episode 1 of the pilot, you know, the 2-hour premiere, when that was going on, this guy ran off, and now they're doing this cleansing ritual to him because he was a coward. And it's pretty much this age-old ritual where they have this guy pretty much like chained up, like he's chained up in the air, and they keep putting rocks on this balance beam, and it pretty much keeps stretching his arms off until they pretty much, you know, just about rip off of his body, you know, and become, you know, limbs pretty much. So we have that going on. And pretty much that's a running element in this episode because Nolan and his daughter Arissa, neither one of them like this. In the first 5-10 minutes of the episode, they try to stop this cleansing ritual from happening, but they don't want to kill everyone just, you know, because they have to take the Castoran's, you know, religious beliefs into atonement. They have to, you know, care for them. That way, you know, they can seem like they're doing the right thing, even though they know torturing someone, and you know, in the end, isn't really the right thing. Well, around the end of this episode, with Arissa, because during the time that Nolan is in the mines, you know, trying to apprehend Ben, you know, trying to look for him, Arissa, around the end of the episode, actually ends up freeing the coward that ran. I forget his name, so I'm just calling him the coward. Ends up freeing the man that was going through the cleansing ritual. And towards the end of this episode, Daytek tries to get him back, and it's a great scene between him. I really like the I don't know his name, but the actor who plays Daytek, great actor. Anyway, so what ends up happening around the end of the episode, this coward ends up dying, and he feels that dying is the only way he can actually redeem his soul. That way he can, you know, he can be in good custody with the gods that the Castoran alien race worships. So what he ends up doing is he and Daytek go out to the middle of the street without anyone around, and you know, in a silent moment, pretty much, Daytek stabs the coward, and they end up fighting him. And that's pretty much the gist of the sci-fi original television series by the name of Defiance for episode 3, titled Down on the Ground Where the Dead Men Go. Overall, my thoughts and opinions on this episode: another solid episode, and the episodic saga of the television series known as Defiance. I really enjoyed this one. You know, I really liked the relationship between Nolan and, as you know, his daughter Arissa. You know, no, it's not his blood daughter, but it's pretty much his daughter because of what he saved her. I really like the relationship. The relationship's just really cool. We had a nice little scene about the last 10 minutes of the show that lasted about 2 or 3 minutes probably. It was a nice scene where she was asking if Antarctica really existed. He said no. She says, you know, we don't really know that. And he says no, but we know that the city of Defiance is real, pretty much is what he said. And you can tell just from this episode, and I can tell just where the series is going, that they're going to stand Defiance. He is now the law keeper. I forgot to say that. He accepted his job as the law keeper, as I suspected as would be, and I suspect that, for the remainder of the season at least, he's going to stand Defiance. His daughter may not like it too much, but, Defiance seems to be a good place for them. So I really liked their relationship. I also really liked in this episode, we got to learn several of the characters' backstories. So a lot of these characters, felt, they were well fleshed out in the 2-hour premiere. We're now in episode 3 titled Down on the Ground Where the Dead Men Grow for Sci-Fi's Defiance television series. The characters feel even more fleshed out because we're starting to learn all the backstories. Like, for example, we learned the backstory of Daytech and his wife. So sorry, her name escapes me. Anyways, we learned how Daytech and his wife first met. We learned that his wife did have another lover, and we learned that Daytech actually was going to have a fight to the death with this man in order to get her, but the man ended up dying beforehand in some kind of I think it was like a plane crash, something like that. I forget. Sorry that I forget. But anyways, the man ended up dying, and it seems that Daytech may have had something to do involving the death of his wife's ex-lover. So we have that going on. So we can see, that Daytech, we learn more about his character. We learn more about the character of his wife. We even learn more about the, Macaulay, I forget the first name. I just call him Macaulay. But, the father of the girl that's in love with the alien boy. We learn more about him in this episode. So overall, the characters in episode 3 titled Down on the Ground Where the Dead Men Go, we learned a lot of backstory for the characters, and it just helped them really flesh out. Also, I forgot to say, Ben ended up dying in this episode. The suspect that killed the guy. He ended up dying in this episode actually on purpose. Actually, he actually committed suicide. He grabbed the gun from Macaulay and ended up making him pull the trigger and ended up shooting himself. That way he wouldn't have to give them any information. And the most important part in this episode is probably the last 10 seconds of this episode. Macaulay gets a little curious. He goes into his son's room and he finds a little wood chip from a drawer, pulls that wooden drawer out of the dresser, and what he finds in that drawer is remarkable. He finds an artifact. He finds the key. I forget what the ex-mayor called it, but he finds the key, and we don't know yet what this key does, but this was the entire reason that Macaulay's son was killed in the first place, and the reason Ben was killed too. So everything is starting to come together. The writing, the dialogue in the show is really stellar, and overall, I'm really enjoying the episode so far. So it seems that in the next episode, they're trying to find out who killed the cower, and it looks like, of course, Daytech did, so maybe Daytech will get arrested in the next episode, episode 4, titled The Devil in the Dark, though I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm really wondering what that artifact does. Is it power? The ex-mayor, little does everyone know, the ex-mayor is the one, the older lady with the, the smoking problem with the little breathing asthma thing, the little inhaler thing, whatever it is. Anyway, it seems like she has a breathing problem. Excuse me for getting sidetracked. Anyway, so I really like her as an actress too. She's really cool. Little does everyone know that the real villain is right under their noses, and she thinks what she is doing is just. She thinks, you have to kill people to create something new. So she thinks that it's the right thing to do. Me, I'll just have to see if it's right later on watching the series. Anyways, that's pretty much my thoughts and opinions upon the Sci-Fi's original television series by the name of Defiance for episode 3 titled Down on the Ground Where the Dead Men Go. Next week's episode comes on, as always, every Monday night, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock for everyone else. It's episode 4 titled The Devil in the Dark. Once again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to the page below, and I'll see you guys later with more videos by Centipede Geek.